This is Kitzur Yomi, Baruch Hashem, finally back up to date. I appreciate everyone's patience in getting back up to date. And Simula Medalid, as we hear in the month of Teves, starts the halachas of Tzedakah. We'll be learning 4 sifim today. Mitzvah zaseh litin tzedakah ani Yisrael. It's a mitzvah deraisa to give tzedakah shenemar. Pasach tiftach es yadcha lo. Open your hand v'nemar v'chechicha yimach. 2 different psukim that tell each other you have to give tzedakah to an ani. V'chol haraya ani mevakish. You see an ani asking for money. And you don't give it to anything to him. Lo nas lo tzedakah. Oiver b'leisa says. So you have to hear these words. If there's an ani asking for tzedakah and you have tzedakah, and you don't give him, and we'll see, this just means giving him a pruta, a dollar, a quarter, something. It's an issa deraisa. Shenemer lo sami tzedakah l'sik v'ziyatcha me'achicha. Hatzdaka, who is sim in lezarav avinu. This is a trait of a yid. Shenemer ki adat l'mana sheyisav esban of leimar lasei tzedakah. Ve'in kisi yisrael miskainin. The seat, the Jewish governance does not establish vidas or emes or medes, and the Torah stand elobit tzedakah. Shenemer b'zakati chay nani. V'kodlo yisrael tzedakah yoyser mikol karbanos. Shenemer ayis tzedakah mishra nivcha Hashem yizavach. Ve'in yisrael negalin, and we're going to be redeemed the merit Hashem el b'tzedakah. Shenemer tziyim b'mishra tipada v'shem b'tzedakah. Lo'ila min adamani minat tzedakah. You'll never get poor from giving tzedakah. Min davar ra. V'lo hazik ba. Nothing bad could happen if you shall tzedakah. Shenemer v'yam ayiseh tzedakah shalom. That tzedakah brings shalom. Anyone who gives rachmanas merachim alav, Hashem will be merciful on him. And if you're cruel, then be careful. Is this guy really a yid? Hashem is close to those who cry for the poor. You have to be careful. You never want someone who's poor to cry out about you, because Hashem listens to him. That is not open for the poor. Will be opened even before the position, meaning the ani has a direct channel to heaven. Person should think, this is the attitude we have to have. I'm always asking for a Hashem. We always want Hashem to hear us, right? So do we should hear the cry of the ani. Put in your heart that the world goes round and round. So if you have a maybe you don't need, but your children, your grandchildren, someone will eventually need, and therefore you should give generously. Don't think, how could I give away my hard-earned money to an ani? You should know the money is not ours. It's a deposit from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Last way, get to do the desire of the one who gave the deposit, Hashem. And this is the portion. And that's the attitude. And if we realize that it's a partnership with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as we'll explain more and more, if we realize that Hashem gave us this money as a deposit to be a good gizbar, a treasurer of Hashem, will make it that much easier to give tzedakah. Kol adam chayav litin tzedakah if beis kefi asagas yad as much as you're able to. Vafilu ani as far as min tzedakah, even one who takes tzedakah, ukigoin sheish amam manishloy has a few dollars. Veinu noisim v'neisim b'hem. He doesn't use for business. The mutal litin min tzedakah. It's allowed to, and therefore he's allowed to accept tzedakah because he's an ani. Kivan shein lo carrying kedivus barnis min a revach doesn't have money. We call makayim. He has something. So the Kitzur is teaching us that even though the guy is collecting tzedakah, but lemaisa he has to give a little bit on his own. If you it's one little bit. A little bit. So why is the same lashon by old karbana by the big fat animal to the little bird to the little flower to teach you of course however if someone only has enough for his own sustenance, why? Because parnasa for yourself comes before anyone else. But again, there's really this balance that everyone should always be giving, even epis mashu, something. Kama noisil ani, how much should you give? Says the Kitzur Sif Gimel. Really, you should give every ani day machzor, whatever he needs. As sheyachzolay v'hainu. Bani shemikavu b'chashai, an ani who accepts in secret. Michlu yavam anshi elitin life. The people of the city have an obligation to support him. Call machzor, whatever he needs. Shahaya ragel mikaydim misha'ani. Such an important line. You have to give someone the level that he was accustomed to living before he became an ani. But an ani who collects door to door, you give him a little bit. Why? Because such an ani, you don't have to maintain his dignity because he's collecting anyways. Therefore, everyone gives a little bit and he'll eventually get what he needs. The city has to make sure he has 2 meals worth, a place to live. When we sustain even Goyish Aniyim Imani Israel, when they dark Yishalom, we don't want to turn them away, and there could be Ava. And finally, Siftal Kami Eaten Antin Lizdaka, how much should you give? Shana Rishain of the first year, Maisim and a carrot, and 10th of the carrot. Mikan Veilach Eaten Maisim and a Revach Shavil Kol Shana. After that, if you give off from the principal, you give from the profits. Chutz Mitzarche Beisai, except you subtract that which you need to live on. Now, note 27 points out this is Shari Knesset Gedayla. However, according to most, this is not the halacha. According to most household expenses, you do not deduct when it comes to meiser, but rather you first give meiser and then you go to your household expenses. But other things, it says from Ramesha at the end of note 27 that when it comes to income taxes, property tax, and other things, that could, yes, be deducted. Zui mida beinanis. Umitzah mina movchar shitin Chomeish shana rishana mina karen give a fifth. Achar kol shana Chomeish mina revach. Val yavazvi is adam yos mina Chomeish. Says the Kitzur. And note 29 points out that the Chavetz Chaim has certain leniencies. You should never give more than a Chomeish. Chavetz Chaim says if you're giving to Torah, you're allowed to, etc. Kadesh yisarcha hu achar. You don't want to give so much away that you're going to self need to take tzedakah. When someone dies, give a third away to tzedakah. Person should not use his meiser for mitzvahs. So what do you do with meiser? And this is a very important line. The ikar mitzvah minhag of meiser is give to the poor. But if a mitzvah comes up, bris to be a son to get a bris. Chaygav used to apparently sell to be son of chilik the svarim pouring not just to buy svarim to give to others to learn. It's a mitzvah. And if he wasn't able to do any of these things, he wouldn't have done it if not. So the Kitzur over here is giving his litmus test. Everyone wants to know, when am I allowed to give meiser? So the Kitzur says it is something you would not have been able to do without giving meiser. Then you'd be allowed to use meiser for a mitzvah. Kitzur doubles down right now. Be careful, you have to lend out those farim unless you need them. Azai who kaidem you have to write in them so that your children don't think it's theirs. We'll pick up from Sif Hey in Mirza Hashem.